Today's unfortunate story is about Linda Laura Hazzard, nicknamed the Starvation Doctor. Linda Laura Hazzard, nicknamed the Starvation Doctor. She was an American quack, a swindler, and convicted serial killer, noted for the promotion of fasting, probably hours-long enemas as treatments. Miss Hazzard was born in Carver, Minnesota. She was the oldest of 7 children of Susanna Neal and Montgomery Burfield. Hazzard had no medical degree, but was licensed to practice medicine in the state of Washington through a loophole that grandfathered in some practitioners of alternative medicine without degrees. According to her book, The Science of Fasting, she studied under Edward Hooker Dewey, MD, a well-known proponent of fasting. Ms. Hazzard established a sanitarium called Wilderness Heights, located in Olola, Washington, where inpatients fasted for days, weeks, or months on a diet consisting of small amounts of tomato, asparagus juice, occasional orange juice. While some patients survived and publicly endorsed Hazzard's methods, dozens died under her care. Hazzard claimed that the deceased had succumbed to undisclosed or hiatal undiagnosed illnesses such as cancer or cirrhosis of the liver.
Most people, after just a few days of not eating, you won't only be losing body fat, but you'll also lose a lot of muscle mass, especially if you're already relatively lean.
Ms. Hazzard's opponents claimed that they all died of starvation. Local residents in Olala, Washington referred to the sanitarium as the Starvation Heights. In the year 1912, Hazzard was convicted of manslaughter for the death of Clary Williamson, a wealthy British woman who weighed less than 50 pounds at the time of her death. At the trial, it was proven that Miss Hazzard had forged Williamson's will and stolen most of her valuables. Williamson's sister, Dorothea, also took the treatment, and it also alleged it only survived because a family friend showed up in time to remove her from the Wilderness Heights. It seemed to be suggested that one of the sisters managed to smuggle a telegram to alert their governess, the police, who lived in Australia. However, by the time of arrival, Claire already had died. Dorothea was too weak to leave on her own, weighing less than 60 pounds. She later testified against Hazzard at trial. Ms. Hazzard was sentenced to 2 to 20 years in prison, which she served in the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. She was released on parole on December 26, 1915, after serving just 2 years. And on the following year, Governor Ernest Lister gave her a full pardon. And so Hazzard and her husband, Samuel Hazzard, moved to New Zealand, where she practiced as a dietitian and osteopath until 1920. In the year 1917, a Washington newspaper reported that Hazzard held a practice certificate from the Washington State Medical Board. Because she used the title doctor, she was charged in Auckland under the Medical Practitioners Act for practicing medicine while not registered to do so. She was found guilty and lots of money in cost. 3 years later, she returned to Olola, Washington, opened a new sanitarium known publicly as the School of Health, since her medical license had been revoked. And she continued to supervise fast until the sanitarium burned to the ground in 1935, and it was never rebuilt. Miss Hazzard died of starvation in 1938 while attempting a fasting cure. Linda Hazzard. She died June 24th, 1938 at the age of 70. The cause of death was starvation due to fasting. Nationality, she was American. Other names she went by was Linda Beerfield Hazzard, Starfield Doctor, Starvation. Occupations was a confidence trickster, alternative medicine practitioner. She was known for home health fraud through promotion of fasting treatments. She was criminalized, imprisonment 1913 to 1915. She was on parole in 1915 and a pardon in 1916. She had two husbands, Samuel Chrisman Hazzard, and her parents were Montgomery and Susanna. Her motive all along was financial gain. Criminal charge was manslaughter and forgery. Penalty, 2 to 20 years in prison. That was in Washington State Penitentiary, Walla Walla. The Starvation Sanitarium, the frame of the building still sits on top of a hill in Olathe, Washington. I hope you guys enjoyed this story about the quack doctor that made people starve to death just to get a buck. I'm Mr. Wade and Mrs. Crime. A lot more coming from Tombstone Whispers. And don't forget, we bring it to you.